What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So the Cowboys lose today to the Baltimore Ravens 28-25. So my first reaction is I'm not going to let the Cowboys treat me like a partner who talks ish to me during a fight and says all these hurtful things and then tries to give me some afterwards. If you know, you know. So I feel like that's what the Cowboys did to me today. They were down the whole game, 28-6, 21-6, 14-3, 21-3. They didn't show up early. They allowed the Ravens to jump all over them. And even though they made some adjustments late to make the game tighter at the end, there were a lot of things that they did wrong that I obviously could see watching the live game cast. And then when they started to get back into it, of course, as a Cowboys fan, because I'm a fan just like you guys, and so I started to get a little bit excited, getting back into the game. But this was the first game I watched of the Cowboys in a few years that I took off all my Cowboys gear. You know what I'm saying? As we got into the game and they started playing worse and worse, I was like, I already made a commitment when last season ended not to purchase any more Cowboys gear until they show me something. But most of the game days I got my Cowboys jersey on. I got another Cowboys jersey in my hand that I could wave. Like I'm at the stadium. I got the Cowboys fitted cap on. And I'm cheering my boys on. Even though I'm a realist during the week, once the game starts, I'm a fan. So this is one of the first games I ever was like, you know what? I'm taking off everything. I'm not wearing my jersey no more. I'm not wearing my hat no more. I'm not, waving my other jersey in the air no more. I'll still cheer when things go on, but I'm not necessarily, repping it all Cowboys right now because they're disappointing me. And then they got themselves back into the game. So if I had to take a positive from this game, it's that the Cowboys at least showed up a little bit more than they showed up last week, and they gave themselves more of a chance this week than they gave themselves last week. But it was too little, too late. It really was. There were times during this game where, in the second quarter, when things were getting away from them, I was like, "Go hurry up." Put the Ravens in the hurry up offense. Like, let's go hurry up on the Ravens. Let's make them have to defend the field without substituting as much. And let's put pressure on them and go quick. And the Cowboys just kind of stayed methodical. They kept trying to do whatever their game plan that they came in was. What I noticed about the Cowboys this season is that they adjust way too late to what's going on. The defense adjusted a little bit to what was going on to them earlier in the game, but I also think part of that was the Ravens outthinking themselves. For example, when the Ravens came out in the first quarter, they were mixing it up. They put Deshaun, here we go, week one. They put Lamar Jackson into some quarterback draws, some quarterback powers. They had him on the edges. They were pulling their offensive linemen out there, getting out there. They were putting Justice Hill on the edges. They were, running Derrick Henry on the edges as well. Some up the middle, but a lot of great plays on the edges. They had a lot of their wide receivers moving and kind of throwing it to them on the move, with those orbit motions. And when I say orbit motions, it's like the wide receiver will be on the right side and he'll motion to the left side, but he'll do it straight across the line of scrimmage, behind the offensive line. But then he'll kind of motion backwards around the back of the quarterback and the running back, sort of like in a big smiley face, coming back around to the other side that he started originally, and then the quarterback on the snap of the ball can throw it to him while he's motioning to that side and kind of get him on the run. And then he has a little bit of a full head of steam going towards the line of scrimmage and can make a play because he's got full speed now while, all the rest of the defensive players are getting up to speed. So the Ravens are doing a lot of that in the first quarter and in the first maybe 18 to 20 minutes of the game. But then as the Ravens started to feel like, oh, we don't have to run our quarterback to have success in a running game. We can use our running backs to have success in a running game. They started doing that, and that was working well for them as well. And then as the game went on, the Cowboys started to adjust to that. The Ravens kind of kept going that way. Every once in a while they were running Lamar Jackson, but for the most part they were running Henry and they were running Hill and they were throwing it to Flowers on that orbit motion, and so that's kind of the way they were attacking the Cowboys. But once we got to the fourth quarter and they kept doing that, the defense finally started to play those a little bit better, and the Cowboys started to get back into the game. And then the Cowboys finally, after me calling for it for 3 quarters, started running up some hurry up offense. And I'm not saying that the Cowboys have to be the old school Chip Kelly with the Philadelphia Eagles running up the hurry up offense the entire game. You can't do that. You'll tire out your own players instead of tiring out the defense, and that won't work for you as much. But the Cowboys could have mixed in some hurry up once they went down early to get back into the game. When it was 14-3 at the end of the first quarter, and the Cowboys are coming out with the ball at the second quarter and they had started moving the ball, the Cowboys should have went hurry up right there. Because maybe they could have got back into the game 14-10, and then you kind of fall back into your traditional offense and kind of see what's going. But CeeDee Lamb had the fumble. It was 14-3. Cowboys are marching the ball. They get into the red zone. CeeDee Lamb's being a baby for some reason this week and really having bad body language and kind of, really complaining about maybe not getting the ball where he wants it or as often as he wants it. He's finally getting the ball where he wants it and as often as he wants it. And what does he do? He doesn't tuck the ball. He gets tackled from behind. He fumbles the ball right when the Cowboys were about to get back in the game and make it 14-10. That's one of the biggest plays in the game, if not the biggest play in the game. So it sucked to see, your guy, your $34 million receiver, kind of being a little bit immature when it came to his body language. And then when it came to his play, he knows. I know, right? And if I know, I'm regular Joe Schmo sitting over here on the couch talking to you guys. I'm the Monday morning quarterback. So if I know the Baltimore Ravens are a physical defense, they're going to punch at the ball. They're going to try to get the ball out. They're going to hit you hard. They're going to jam you. They're going to play you so physical that they're like, hey, I'm going to play you so physical, I don't believe that the referee is going to call penalties on every single play. So if I play you physical 60 plays and they call 10 penalties, fine, because I probably got penalties on the other 20 or 30 plays that they didn't call. That's how the Ravens play. They're going to get up and they're going to press you and they're going to get into you and they're going to force you to out-physical them to play the game. So CeeDee Lamb knew they were going to be going after that ball, and for him to not tuck that ball on that catch, that was huge, man. And that's not something that he's going to do the entire season. I understand CeeDee Lamb's a great player, and as we go along here, he's going to continue to get into a rhythm. And CeeDee Lamb does not really have a fumbling problem, so I don't expect this to be something that we're going to see moving forward. But that was disappointing for this particular game because this game is a vacuum. Every NFL game is a vacuum. So even if it's not a big problem for the entire season, we're talking about in a vacuum. We're talking about today. Right? Each NFL game, the reason why the NFL is so successful is because it only has 17 games in the season. So each game is urgent. Each game is today. Each play is right now. And for him to have that fumble at that time was very disappointing. It was also disappointing to see our defense not make, early in the game, not make as many corrections on the outside. I don't know if they thought the Baltimore Ravens weren't necessarily going to attack them in that way, because I thought the way the Ravens would attack the Cowboys for the most part was up the middle and straight between the tackles, and that the only time that we really had to worry about the Ravens attacking us on the edges is if it was Lamar Jackson. But the Ravens actually did put Derrick Henry on the edges. Derrick Henry is not even a running back that catches screens and takes you and attacks you on the edge, but that's what he was doing today. He did attack us a lot in the middle, too, and just killed us, totally destroyed us. He's a big man. They call him King Henry for a reason. But Hill also attacked us on the edges. They used the wide receivers to attack us on the edges. So it was interesting to see that the Cowboys didn't say, hey, we're not going to allow you to attack us on the edges. We're going to take away that weakness of our defense. We're going to commit, or we're going to have guys play different technique and different leverage to stop that. Now, what I will say also, to give the Cowboys some credit, in the second half, they did do a much better job of that. They got beat up, just totally destroyed, 21-3 or 21-6 in the first half, and then they outscored the Ravens 19-7 in the second half, but it was too little too late. The Cowboys need to get off to a much better start. They need to have a much better game plan in the beginning. It looked like Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy were kind of shell shocked as to what the defense was doing. So if I had to give some star downs, it would be the Cowboys' entire defense again. It would also be the entire Cowboys offensive line. I can't tell you how many times I saw Cooper Beebe on the ground, or how many times I saw Tyler Smith on the ground. I saw Zach Martin get beat. I saw Matabuke just pushing Terrence Steele, and I saw Pierce batting down passes. These are all people that we talked about leading up to the game. And the Dallas Cowboys, I'm sure they talked about these same people leading up to the game. Now, I know it's the NFL. So you can talk about these people, you can focus on these people all you want, but when it comes to game day, you have to have the physical capability to beat these people that we're talking about. It's enough to just focus on them, right? You can as an offensive line coach go, hey Terrence Steele, Matabike is a strong guy. He's gonna try to get into you with power. He's gonna try to push you into Dak Prescott's lap. What I need you to do is I need you to anchor, right, and protect the right side and make sure that no matter what happens, you don't get pushed into your quarterback's lap. I can say that as a coach. It's a totally different thing to physically line up against that man and stop him from pushing me into Dak Prescott's lap. You know what I'm saying? So I know a lot of the media, when they come to talk about the Cowboys and this upcoming week, they're going to talk about how much they got out physical and how much, the Ravens are stronger in the trenches. And that is definitely true. And there's going to be a lot of blame to go around. There's going to be a lot of player blame to go around. There's going to be a lot of coaching blame to go around. But sometimes some people are just stronger than you, or they're just better than you, or they're just faster than you. What you're supposed to do as a coach, right? We talked about this last week with the New Orleans Saints. Your job as a coach is to put your players in a position to succeed. So you know what your weaknesses are, right, as a coach, or at least you're supposed to. And you know what your strengths are as a coach, or at least you're supposed to. And what you need to do is put your players in a position to accentuate their strengths and mitigate their weaknesses. So if you know Matabike is a strong player and he's lined up over Terrence Steele, you're Dak Prescott, and you're coming to the line of scrimmage and you see that, and you see Matabike lined up over Terrence Steele, you don't run the same play you were going to run before, right? You're going, okay, Matabike is going to rush hard on this. He's going to get up inside. We're going to run a flare screen out to Ezekiel Elliott in the flat. We're going to hit him here in the red zone and, mitigate that rush by Matabike. But what does Dak do? He checks to that play. Ezekiel Elliott is out there free, and Dak throws it behind him. So even when you put your players in the right position, there's sometimes that players are just going to do what they do. And that was the problem with the Cowboys today. I saw Trayvon Diggs, and I don't blame him. It's King Henry. But he made quite a few business decisions today. He definitely needs to tackle a lot better on the outside. If he's not going to tackle a lot better on the outside, then the Cowboys need to line up their defense differently if they're going against a back that's as big and as physical as King Henry. So star down on the defense as a whole, star down on the offensive line, star down on CeeDee Lamb. If I had to give a star up to Overshown. As much as I had a lot of problems with the defense today, Overshown seemed like he was everywhere, man. He was making tackles left and right. It felt like every time Henry was getting brought down, or Lamar Jackson was getting brought down, I saw 13 in on the play. If Hill was getting, I saw 13 on the play. As a matter of fact, when Carson, got beat out to the flat against Nelson Aguilar and had a tackle there that he could have tackled and made it 3rd and 4, but instead, Aguilar slips the tackle and goes screaming down the sideline for like a 60-yard gain. It's Overshown who made the tackle. And he's not even supposed to have long speed, but he's down there making the tackle. So I give props to DeMarvion Overshown. I also give props today to Rico Dowdle. It looks like he made a lot of people miss in the hole. He kept making plays. The Cowboys definitely need to make sure that they're not giving Ezekiel Elliott snaps. It looks like his snaps have lessened more and more each week. But honestly, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they see. I hear Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan saying, I don't understand why people are asking about the running game. I can't get it. Well, yeah, that's Ezekiel Elliott. He's a good back. He came in the same time as Derrick Henry. He's not Derrick Henry. He is not Derrick Henry. Okay? So I don't understand what's going on here as far as it's like we're self-sabotaging. Are we trying to win this season? Because if we're not, just come out and say that. Say that we're trying to play a whole bunch of young guys. We signed Dak Prescott and we signed, CeeDee Lamb. But what we're really trying to do is get a look at our young guys. We're trying to prepare for the future. We shed all those contracts. We didn't sign any free agents. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to build towards the next couple of years. And, if we win now with what we got, great. But if we don't, it's not the end of the world because we're trying to see a couple of years down the line when some of these young guys become a little bit older. Now, if that's the case, I understand. But if that's also the case, you got a Michael Parsons contract, you got a Jake Ferguson contract, you got a Tyler Smith contract. So you got some contracts. Sorry, guys. I got motorcycles in my hood. So you got some of these contracts coming up that are going to keep the Cowboys in a very tight cap, right? So you need some of these young guys to play well right away if you're going to be a competitive team. And if you're not going to have these young guys play well right away, then you need to rethink what you're doing as a front office and as a football team. If you're going to be competitive right now, then go out and get some right now players. If you're looking to be competitive later, then you don't need to be signing a lot of these players to long-term deals because that's just going to keep you right where you're at. So I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. They seem kind of discombobulated. They seem kind of all over the place. My third star up will be the Cowboys fight, right? The Cowboys fought back into the game. That is the one thing I can give them credit, or one of the three things. Obviously, I got 3 stars up. But that was one of the things I can give them credit for today is that they could have laid down and died at 28-6 and let that game get to 35-6, 42-6, and just went, oh, hey, it is what it is. Oh, we played a good team today. They were in the AFC Championship, blah, 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 blah. But at least they fought back into the game. They gave themselves a chance. And the same problem that plagued the defense in the first half plagued them on that last drive when they were trying to get a chance to get the ball again to maybe force overtime or win the game. What they couldn't stop the Lamar Jackson runs. They couldn't stop Henry, and that's exactly what plagued them on the last drive. So, hopefully next week, going into the next game, they solve some problems. I know it's the Giants. I know it's Thursday night. But you know what? The Giants won this week. The Giants have a better taste in their mouth than the Cowboys. So the Cowboys need to pick it up because if they lose to the Giants, all hell is going to break loose. And we'll be breaking that shit down here. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's JMiller if you like. You can also hit me up via email, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. That's knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can hit the comments below if there's anything specific that you want me to cover or if there's any questions that you have about the team. You can submit them there. You can submit them Twitter. You can submit them email. I'll take them all anywhere you got them. I'll cover whatever you want me to cover. I'll take whatever questions, put them into a mailbag format, make it a weekly thing. But thank you guys for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? We're almost at 20 subscribers. And hopefully we get there. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I love you guys. Until next time, I'm your host, J Mill. J Miller if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.